Hey, what's up? Actually, I'm doing another Extreme Views topics today. I'm actually doing this on my tablet, so this is pretty cool. It's a bigger picture. Okay, I haven't done one of these topic issues in a long time, but I wanted to get something straight. I do care what people think. I do care about people's opinions. Those of me that have me on Facebook always kind of see other points of me. I agree with some things and I don't agree with others. Um, anyway, let's jump in right into the topics. Um, you know, it's ever since this whole racist thing has been happening, people want to put everything into a racial thing. And I'm not trying to pinpoint anybody here or any type of certain race is doing it, but the African American race is trying to keep racism alive by sitting there saying, well, one of the first issues I want to talk about is what they're doing is that trying to remove one of the four monument confederate statues that are in Baltimore. They had I wish I knew about this city meeting that they had about this, because I would have laid a lot of people out. Not in a physical way, but in the speech way. I would verbally lay them out by telling them, look, you guys need to stop making everything about racists, because you got the people who keep doing are the ones that are talking about it. They want to remove it because I hate to characterize or optimize and make it just them, but it seems it's not all black people. It's certain ones who've been brought around that, saying that this what this means, and everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But it seems like this whole racial thing, that's all it's about. It's not about anything else. They want one person said they want to remove it because it's racist, and these are people that we shouldn't be teaching the future generations about, that or leaders in this country that divided the country about. First of all, it wasn't about that. The government could not work out each other or couldn't agree because one had one side, and then it just got divided and it turned into a war. It wasn't really 100% about slavery. And the thing is that eventually everything worked itself out. A lot of people did die, but that's what happens in war, obviously. And people just got, now they're all involved with the whole thing with the Confederate flag, saying, every city pretty much pulled it off their pole. Walmart, Amazon, all these big companies took the Confederate flag off their sites and off their shelves because of these idiots protesting against it and boycotting them. Well, you know what? This is what I say, and you're not going to like it, but I really don't care, because you guys need, I hate to say you guys, because it's not everybody who believes in this. It's not just black people, it ain't just white people, it ain't just these group of people, but there's a small percentage of these people who keep saying shit. Get over it. Leave it alone. You don't like it, you don't have to teach your kids about it, but stop making it seem like that it's a bad thing. Okay? You might as well just not send your kid to school, because they're going to learn about the the Germans and the Nazis, how the Nazis, excuse me, that the Nazis made the German people believe that Jews were bad people, and the Jews got executed and thrown out and punished and everything else, and over 10 million Jews, it ain't 6 million, 10, got killed because of a regime that believed in one thing and one thing only. Another thing, I don't want to go into one subject and go into the other, but they all will equal out at the end of this. Another thing is that people don't focus on the fact of who brought the people here. Okay, Christians, Catholics brought slaves over to the new country. It's not so much the new world now, but it was a new world then. And Indians were always and will be the first Americans or the first people here. Who killed them? It wasn't so much the government that was behind it. It was more or less the Christian and Catholic views and opinions that were in government at that time made the decision, said, if you don't obey or apply you got to believe in what we believe type of system, then we are going to take your land, we are going to execute your people. And all these people were Christians or Catholics. Nobody wants to talk about that. I should be pissed off, and I shouldn't like Christians or Catholics for what they did to my people. I'm part Cherokee Indian. Should I sit there and say, well, you know what? Maybe I should have protested not to have any churches or anything that has to do with Christian belief or Catholic belief. I'm sorry if that offends nobody. I'm not trying to offend nobody. I'm trying to make a point. If the black people want this Confederate history to be completely erased, then I want the Christian churches and what they teach off the shelves too, because there's a lot of false pretenses in that. Okay? And to make a culture of people believe in something that they had no idea what to believe in, or they believed in their own gods and their own spiritual culture, and to take that away and to eliminate 500 million people of a nation to make your own, but yet everyone wants to cover up and say it was the government. Well, a lot of people see that it was. They don't talk about in school that it's Christians and Catholics. They don't go in detail or who killed the Indians. Yeah, Indians killed themselves, but every country does. Not everybody's going to get along, first of all. Okay, so should I protest? Should I get a group of Indians and to have heritage and sit there and say, well, we want this band, we don't like it when there's a church a certain amount of yards or feet or miles away from this or that? You know, maybe I should, you know, people need to think, because if one group of people can sit there and try to make a change for something that has already happened, you can't change it, leave it the hell alone. Okay? Stop blaming everything on racist things. The only people, like I said before, the only people keeping this shit alive are those people. I have a lot of black friends, and one particular, I'm not going to mention his name, calls all of them stupid and idiots because they're the ones that keep the racism alive. Get over it. You can't change how you came over here, or your ancestors came over, and how your people were treated. So get the hell over it, move on, and leave things alone. You don't got to take your kids or teach your kids about that. You can refuse them from learning that. Fine. But don't make it to where parents who want to have their kids to be taught about history and how the country came together and blame it on something that had nothing to do with it. I think people need to get their shit and facts straight before they start calling these shots. And now they're going to have a board meeting that might have these removed. Now, a 10-year-old girl did say that they should be put in a museum. Okay, that's fine, because at least people can learn. But again, get over it. You know, I want to put a big sign in front of each statue, so you people need to get over yourselves. So let's get this right. Let's look at history, okay? I learned the 4 steps when it came to the Egyptians, the Romans, the Persians, the barbarians. You know, the different cultures that happened over a certain amount of years. One took over the other. Okay? Fine. Now, the Christians and Catholics who came over here with the slaves. Now, Christians and Catholics brought the slaves over here. Key words. Christians and Catholics. Okay, that's number 2. There's 2. Then you have the other part. They forced the American Indians to believe in their culture or you're going to get eliminated. You have to believe in what we believe and practice what we believe and do, or else. There's no sugarcoating it, okay? The Christians and Catholics killed 500 million people, 500 million Indians. Okay. You fast forward a little while, starting in 1933, for 4 or 5 years prior, Hitler was trying to move up in the ranks to have enough power to create a regime, and he was able to make all the German people at that time hate Jewish people. And that if you associated with them, you would be considered one, and you would be a target, and you would be shot or killed, or if you housed. Now, there were some Germans who did house Jews in a hidden places in their house. Some made it, some didn't. But they got eliminated. Another thing is that Hitler, his dad was Jewish, and Hitler was Jewish, but he paid somebody to completely erase that from his background. So he was killing his own people. What are the African Americans doing? They're Americans. They're not African Americans anymore. Why? Because if you ask any people that come from Africa, they're not considered African Americans. They're considered Americans. They've been here for so long. Trust me, I know. I know somebody that's from Africa. Okay, and I get many people's views that come from that region. So, for 12 years, 10 million Jews get killed. Joseph Stalin killed 20 million of his own people, mostly soldiers. And the propaganda, he was sitting in schools, he made himself really good, and on the other side of it, he was killing people. So was Hitler. Hitler was doing the same thing, where nobody knew what he was doing, and there was concentration camps at all. They just seen people get lined up, put on trains, and see you later. That's all the Germans knew. They believed in Hitler, okay? Just like the people believed that it was right at that time to bring slaves over here, because it's just the way it was. Okay, you can't change the past or how history played out. Get over it. Get off your high horse and leave it alone. There's so many things in history that is teachable in the right way. Excuse me. Now, on another thing, is that my ending part of this is that history is always one's reality. And what basically that means is that certain people live in this reality of let's continue to keep slavery alive and remind people how bad it was. But don't tell the actual truth behind it and how it happened, and that African tribes turned against each other to put them on ships to come over here to America. And then Indians and black people were slaves in the United States. Not a lot of people knew that. And if you didn't go with their Christian value, you're going to be hung, or you're going to get shot, or you're going to be shunned out. And there's nothing you could do about it. So, let's think about that. Let's review. Christians and Catholics brought black slaves over here. Number one. Christians and Catholics killed 500 million American Indians. That's number two. Christians of the German culture believed in Hitler, who killed 10 million Jews. Well, that's 3 or 4 different things that the Christians and Catholics did. We don't talk about that, do we? We don't take away churches or Bibles or anything else. They don't teach that in school at any point because it's a religious thing. And it might offend people. You know what? Get off this offensive bullshit and go somewhere with that too. Because you know what? I don't care if it offends people, because people need to know it's the truth. And the sugar-coated way people are doing it now, everything's so politically correct, afraid the FBI or, you know, Homeland Security is going to come after you for saying stuff. First of all, I ain't saying nothing wrong. Number two, it's the truth. Number three, there's nothing there I'm saying that is false, because it's all true. I was a big history buff in school and out of school. It's one of my biggest things I've known and done. And if anybody says that the whole Civil War was based off of slaves, they were wrong, because there were black people on both sides. They weren't forced. They had a choice. Again, they chose. You can't help it. Get over it. And thank you again for everybody for viewing my videos. Please give me an opinion. Also, email me at extremeViews9786@gmail.com. Thank you again, and everyone have a blessed night. Please be safe, and have a good night out there.